Hello, good evening and a very warm welcome to Cape Town in South Africa. We've reached the final of the 2014 African Nations Championships. Ghana here yet again, and Libya for the first time in 32 years ready to contest a continental final. Well, the Greenpoint Stadium is all ready. We've had Nigeria take on Zimbabwe in the third and fourth place playoff. Now it's time for the grand finale itself. The West Coast superpower taking on the surprise finalists from the Mediterranean. It's the final, and we're all ready to go. So good evening, and a very warm welcome with me, Rob Hatch, to this final of the Cup of African Nations Championship. Sepp Blatter is here, all of international football royalty in charge and ready. We've had the closing ceremony. All that remains is now the main event. Well, it's been a very good tournament so far, and how fitting that the country that was supposed to host it, Libya, had it taken off the country after some political instability that is well publicised around the world, of course. But they've reached the final, and of course, in an eerie similarity to the last time they were in a Continental Cup competition final, the opponent is Ghana. This time, the North Africans will be hoping that the result is rather different. So the main man is here. The main players are here. Before we begin, we will honour, of course, the late president of the former South Africa, Nelson Mandela.
To Nelson Mandela posthumously for his contribution to the development of football on the African continent by serving as an inspiration to players, coaches.
Well, before the big matches here, we've had a big tribute
of the 2010 FIFA World Cup, the first on African soil,
to Nelson Mandela,
global admiration for support for anti-racism,
and of course,
justice and fair play.
And it is only right, with sport as a magnificent vehicle that the great man used for change, that we honour his memory yet again.
President of CAF on this first day of February 2014 in Cape Town, South Africa. Unquote.
So the president of world football alongside the president of African football.
Ladies and gentlemen, the CAF president will now hand over a commemorative plaque from CAF to the president of the Republic of South Africa to be accepted by Minister Mbalula. The text on the plaque reads as follows: the Confederation of African Football.
So the Confederation of African Football with its own tribute to Nelson Mandela, as we said.
Its sincerest appreciation to the people of South Africa.
And of course, to South Africa as a nation. South Africa stepping in at late notice to host this wonderful tournament. Third edition of the African Nations Championship now. Tunisia the holders. That will change tonight. Ghana, remember, contested the first ever final of this competition in 2009. They were beaten then. They are big favourites tonight against a team that is tasked with shocking an entire continent in Libya.
To the people of South Africa for the reasons noted above with great appreciation.
So the formalities continue. Sure distraction for the players behind, who of course will have nothing but finishing first on their minds. So the presentation party being introduced to those lining up for the Black Stars of Ghana tonight. There's their captain, Georgian Opoku, reliable, strong and experienced midfield man. and their goalkeeper, Stephen Adams, has had such a great tournament so far. Referee tonight, by the way, comes from Algeria. He is Mohamed Benoussa, assisted by Mr. Balkrishna Bhutan and Yunusa Musa of Mauritius and Cameroon, respectively. Fourth official tonight comes from Guinea, and he is Abubakar Mario Bangura. Well, what a journey it has been for Libya, coached by Javier Clemente, the Spanish experienced coach from the Basque Country. The Mediterranean Knights, as they're known, have ridden their luck in certain rounds this week. Certainly, as far as the semi-final was concerned, winning it very dramatically on penalty. A goalkeeper in the end having to take that 8th spot kick that sent them through to the final. So a final handshake and good luck from all those involved to those trying to do their country justice out there on the football field this evening. Well, wherever you're watching in Africa and around the world, we welcome you, and we hope you're ready to enjoy what should be a fantastic night of football. That's what they're playing for, the African Nations Championship. Competition only made up of locally based players in Africa. Gives teams an opportunity to see which of their domestic stars are going to match up at this level. And of course, in a World Cup year, very important indeed. Time for the Libyan national anthem.
Now the national anthem of Ghana.
So much bad luck for Ghana in recent finals. Will tonight be their night? The Black Stars have plenty of supporters here in Cape Town this evening, and they're up against a Libyan side who are out for revenge for that final defeat all the way back in 1982. It is the Mediterranean Knights versus the Black Stars. The Mediterranean Coast team, the underdogs, up against the West African superpowers. Table Mountain in the background, and of course a Libyan side who have a couple of big players missing. Fettori and Git both suspended, so Alwan suspected for the first time in this tournament. In the meantime, top scorer Omar is on the bench. Expect that to be a 4-5-1, pardon me, with just the one striker, and of course Javier Clemente playing his defensive brand of football. Ghana in the meantime line up with Stephen Adams, who's recovered from his groin injury, to make the goal for Maxwell Konadu's team. There's no Kwabena Adusei. He was sent off in the semi-final. Ghana's main worry is the lack of goals. Only Anuba in the 11 has scored so far in this tournament. They're captained, of course, by the brilliant Opoku, who is the driving force in midfield. So Ghana in their traditional white shirts tonight. Referee comes from Algeria. He is Mohamed Benoussa, assisted by Mr. Bhutan and Musa of Mauritius and Cameroon. Well, the two captains tonight, Ali Salama on the left-hand side, defender who plays for Al Ahly, and look at the Libyan support. Plenty of it in the crowd. It has been testing times in Libya for the last few years. Remember, they were supposed to host this tournament. Tonight, they have the opportunity to win it in Cape Town. So a chance to pose for one final family photograph. Well, that is the image that Libya will hope to see repeated as the night goes on. Ghana, in the meantime, will have some adopted South African support with them. Great relationship between the two teams, stemming all the way back to the World Cup in South Africa. South Africa going out early, and Ghana's style very much adopted by the locals. There is Maxwell Konadu, mild-mannered coach, who said that fatigue might have a bit of an influence tonight after their big semi. First of all, a moment's applause for late, great Nelson Mandela. So the talking has been done. The build-up comes to an end. Well, Javier Clemente's down there somewhere. He is, of course, the coach of Libya. And who's been around the block in Spain. He's done several international jobs as well. A few eyebrows raised in his home nation when he was appointed as the Libya coach. He's done a great job, though. And his strong, organised, defensive brand of football is going to be put to the test tonight by a Ghana team who are playing to try and be recognised. Maybe a place or two still up for grabs in the Ghana World Cup squad. A lot of talk that man, Stephen Adams, might have made his way into the squad. He needs another big performance tonight. So does each and every one of the 22 players. It is the final of the 3rd African Nations Championship here in Cape Town, South Africa. Ghana get us underway, kicking from right to left. Well, 90 huge minutes to decide exactly where this trophy is destined. At the moment, it is held in North Africa with Tunisia. Ghana hoping to change that tonight. First touch for Anoba, the only scorer in a match in Ghana's team. Of course, it's been a very difficult team to break down. It's the first foul of the evening, committed by Saleh. A foul very much committed in the image of their coach, Senor Clemente. Early free kick for Ghana. Michael Akufo to try and whip the ball in. But it hasn't been the free-flowing Ghana we expect from a nation that loves to play lovely football. Plenty of strength, plenty of organisation, and a lack of goals, really. Souley Mohammed is the main striker for them. Yet to score in this tournament, though. Aimed at him at the near post. Huge favourites, and a lot of pressure on Ghana tonight. Ball swung into the far post, headed goalwards, and the first save to be made by Mohamed Abdallah. Well, Seydou Banze almost getting Ghana off to a dream start. Big reach by the Libyan goalkeeper. They themselves have had a pretty mean defence. Both of these teams reaching the final quite bizarrely without scoring at all in the semi-finals. Ghana having to come past Nigeria in what could well have been the final, certainly from a purist point of view. The two nations that everybody loves to see play each other in Africa. Really offside, by the way, given against Banze. Mohamed had chased this one down, and as far as Libya are concerned, it's all about being patient and keeping it going. No real pressure on the team from North Africa tonight, although I'm sure that there are several million people watching on in and around the bars of Tripoli. Cafes will be absolutely packed there tonight. They certainly would love, and many would feel deserve, something to cheer about. Ghana keeping possession early doors. Task is to break down this stubbornly organised and strong side set up by Javier Clemente. Ball looking for Atoba. First chance to break for the Libyans. Ali Sama, the captain, gets the ball out wide. El Honi. It is Ganoudi. Looks to get his shot in. No, that's not going to test Stephen Adams. Well, he can be forgiven for having an early go. I'm sure Ghana will be fairly happy if they can keep the opposition shooting from distance all night, though. El Ghadi. It is Mohamed. El Trubi. El Ghadi, who is expected to be the linchpin of the midfield tonight. Keeps it together, keeps it ticking. And the longer Libya can keep the ball, of course, naturally their confidence will grow. Such a big occasion for their players this evening. Each and every one of them playing their football at home in Libya. Most playing for Al Ahly. It is El Ghadi once more. El Honi, the left back. Space opening up for Absnaf. That's a decent ball. Al Magassi will chase, but in the end, an intervention required from Ainuson. Well, each and every one of these Ghana players has played several matches. There's the man coaching them, Javier Clemente. Hasn't had too much success in his recent adventures in his homeland in Spain. He brought in by a couple of clubs to keep them up late on in the season. His last great success, as far as that's concerned, with Murcia, almost a decade ago now. Five minutes of this game gone. Oh, it's a mistake, and this could be a great opportunity. Samuel Adams is in there, and an early panic for Ghana. Saved once again by their excellent goalkeeper. Well, almost suicidal stuff. Ainuson, not quite sure what he was playing at. Wonderful chance as Abnou Shaf had the ball. Samuel Adams, who saved them by saving 2 penalties in the shootout in midweek. You can see with that left groin area heavily stretched and strapped up. With a vital intervention. Ghana living dangerously in the first few minutes. Nicely won. El Ghadi. Space coming forward here. Libya being very progressive in these opening moments. Chance to get El Honi on the ball with danger in the middle. Adams there to collect the cross. Another Ghanaian defence. Certainly worrying their supporters, I'm sure. Adams doing his hopes of a call-up to the World Cup squad. Plenty of favours. Here is Ainuson again, who'll be just hoping to calm down. Limba and Magazi. And Ali Sama, centre-half and captain. Going to do a big job tonight, certainly in the absence of Osama Gid and Abdurrahman Fattori. Fattori has been the best performer so far in the Libyan side during this tournament. Foul committed by Saka. Well, these two teams no strangers to each other in this particular competition. They met in Pool C, playing out a 1-1 draw in Bloemfontein about 2 weeks ago. Ghana finishing on top of Pool C with 7 points, 2 wins and a draw. Ghana beating Congo and Ethiopia. Libya getting past Gabon on penalties in the quarterfinals, and then that wonderful penalty shootout winning at Zimbabwe in the midweek. It really was a hold-on and hold-out exercise, and Clemente and his entire squad universally praised back home. Some wonderful videos of the national television and their celebrations on commentary. You think the South Americans go mad? Have a listen to that. Wonderful to listen to. And tell the joy and pride brought to the nation by their qualification for this final. And fate would have it that 32 years after their last final, which was in Tripoli, bitter loss on the night in penalties, well, yet again, the opposition would be Ghana. Of course, Libya hoping for a slightly different result this time. Here's Al Maghazi for the Mediterranean Knights. Faisal Ali now. El Ghadi. Long ball, more of a hopeful ball than anything. This time it's dealt well by Akufo. Now a chance for Opoku to get on the ball. The man who really holds everything together for Ghana. It's a shame that Adusei is missing tonight. That will perhaps lead to some instability in defence. The Asante Kotoko man sent off for 2 yellow cards in midweek. Here's El Ghadi. Nervous ball by El Maghazi, but not too much pressure or pressing from the Ghanaian Black Stars. Again, it is going to be a nervous, stubborn encounter, as finals often are. Adams will come and collect. Well, I wonder how much that fatigue from those penalty shootout matches is going to play a part in this final. Final coming only 3 days after those results. After 10 minutes, it's Libya 0, Ghana 0. Hopeful ball looking for Souley Mohammed in the middle. "240 minutes, no goals in the semis," as I said. Penalty kicks required to separate the teams and finalise this showpiece lineup. But it is a great opportunity for all those players on show here, all African-based players. Push this on the next level from the African Nations Cup, which will take place next year. There's El Ghadi. It's fouled. With players in both teams just settling into the action. Certainly the correct decision by the referee. It's nicely watched. Faisal Ali looking for Abdul Shnaf. And Libya have won their first throw-in down this near side. Ali. It is down the right where there's plenty of threat here for Libya. It's a very good ball, and Adams is required to intervene once more. Libya causing the early problems here in the Greenpoint Stadium in Cape Town. The referee, in the meantime, has blown up. Clash of heads in the middle. And it's not good to see Stephen Adams down. He really has been in the wars this week. Once more it was Al Maghazi causing all the problems down the right-hand side. Lovely interchange play with Abdul Shnaf. Adams came, but in the process really has hurt himself. Groin injury that almost forced him off in the semi-final. Ghanaian defence not convincing in these early moments. I'm sure it will take a lot to force Stephen Adams out of this. He knows of all the talk, the articles written back home about his possible inclusion in the squad for the Brazil World Cup as Clemente looks on rather nervously. In the meantime, it's been a sad day for Spanish football back in his native land. The man who brought the first success to the Spanish national team at Euro 2008, Luis Aragonés, sadly passed away this morning after a short battle with leukemia. Adams is okay and we can carry on. Good news. There's Aisunan. It's almost half the side made up of the Asante Kotoko players. But it's Libya looking the stronger. And he'll be happy with how things have gone so far, Clemente. Has been at major tournaments before with Spain as well. That is before the days of tiki-taka, if you will. Mohamed loses out, just 16 years of age. Well, cries of handball, referee not interested. Chance to get the ball in again as Mohamed will chase. Here now is Tijani. Nicely blocked off on this near side. First real threat from Ghana since that early header. Tijani's throw has options close, in the end will look to launch one. It's the big head of Mohamed. The referee since spotted a bit of shirt pulling. He hasn't been hesitant to blow his whistle early on, Mohamed Benoussa. So a quarter of an hour gone. Remains 0-0. Plenty to talk about. Namely, cagey defences. The blend of vuvuzelas humming in the background. Header won by Tijani. It is Al-Muatsembala Mohamed. Again, just 16 years of age, plays for El Ittihad. Rather over-enthusiastic challenge in the meantime, coming in from Akufo. It's Tijani. Nicely taken by Sully Mohamed. Looks to get his shot off, and that is poor. Well, they have produced some fantastic footballers in the last 10 to 15 years ago. But it has been in attack where Ghana have perhaps lacked the finishing touch. A lot of pressure in the main national team on Asamoah Gyan. Played nicely forward by Abu Shnaf. Here's Opoku. Ali Salama. Now Kufo for Ghana. And his captain Opoku. Tijani. Spot stays down this left-hand side. Should easily run out. Ghana do claim a corner. Banti was there. Libyan captain not too impressed, Ali Salama. Miscommunication between his players, and they now have a corner to defend. Ghana have shown that in the air they're a threat. Banzi in particular, in his fourth match of the tournament, yet to score. Yet it's taken short. Tijani. Faisal Ali putting it out for a corner again. Poku, the man for all seasons, the man for just about everything, whips the ball in. Out comes Abdullah, the goalkeeper. Anuba. Oh, looks to be brought down there. Faisal Ali might find himself in a little bit of trouble. The referee has been lenient so far in terms of cards. A very tasty challenge in the first minute that perhaps later on in the game would have been punished. So just under 20 minutes gone. Ghana pressure starting to build. Several corners and free kicks down this left-hand side. Chance to whip the ball in, but it's a chance that goes begging. And is symptomatic of Ghana's disappointing start to this game. Godfred Saka sending it high and wide, disappointing his coach. Maxwell Kanadu, who was praising Libya before the game, saying that they have plenty of fast and skillful players. But he said his side did his homework. They will not throw this away. We have to come out victorious, mindful of the pressure that this fanatical and extremely patient Ghanaian support, after having suffered so many final disappointments. Has been able to put up with so much pressure. It's those nerves showing a little. Interesting ball forward, looking for Mohamed Ganoudi. Disappointment clearly expressed there from Nurasuli. Atoba being asked alongside Sully to have a chat with the referee. It's probably the correct decision. Nuran and Atobra. Now a chance for the Libyans. 5 red shirts in the box. Interesting to see how many they commit forward here. Set pieces. Will be the big opportunity. "20 minutes into this final. Libya's first continental final since 1982. A match that saw them lose to this very Ghanaian side. We'll send a little long looking for El Ghadi. Nothing really to worry the Ghanaian defence or Stephen Adams, who's had his moment of panic early on. That could well be a funny case of history repeating itself in this very tournament. Another scrappy foul in the middle. But the circumstances surrounding this final matchup are scarily similar to those of 1982. Of course, in the Africa Cup of Nations finals, then both sides in the same group played the opening match. It was a 2-2 draw on that occasion. At this year's African Nations Championship, they had a 1-1 draw in the group match. George Al Hassan and the Black Stars in front after 35 minutes, and Ali Al Basari equalising for a 1-1 draw. Ghana triumphing 7-6 on penalties to claim their 4th championship then, back in 1982. And we just had our first yellow card in the game here in 2014. It's been coming for a while, you have to say. Faisal Ali, the man in the book. That is very late. Opportunity, albeit from distance. Looking for Suley Mohammed there. Overhead kick. It's a little ambitious to say the least. Is El Honi. Libya looking to break. Nuru Adams showing his first moment of nervousness as well. El Ghadi try to pressure in the middle, but it's Ghanaia's turn to have the ball. Tijani now. As through the channels looking for the very hard-working Banzi. Anruba. Tijani an option. Red shirts just about ever. Pressing game has been good from Libya. Away by their 16-year-old midfielder Mohammed. Nicely taken down. Anuba finding a teammate. There's a decent response from El Tribi. Tijani, space on this left-hand side, looks to get the ball inside. Atruba felt he was fouled there, referee didn't agree. There might be a few eyebrows raised in West Africa to see a North African referee for this one as well. Just over halfway through this first half. Mr. Blatter and his friends from the African Football Confederation looking up. Remains Libya 0, Ghana 0. Now, for those of you awaiting news of the third and fourth place playoff earlier on, it was Nigeria who snatched it with a 1-0 win over Zimbabwe. Those sides that on any other given day, with the lottery that is a penalty shootout, could be contesting the finals. Remember, both semis decided on penalty kicks. It's meant that two teams with pretty mean defensive records facing each other for a continental trophy here. No statistics being adhered to so far. Libya 0, Ghana 0. Fans, as you can see, enjoying themselves nonetheless. Mohammed takes down well, ensures his side keeps possession. Long ball, looking for the run of Ganoudi. A little too long though, and not too much to worry about for Nuru Sully, the Hearts of Oak Accra defender. Played each and every one of the minutes in this tournament so far, 480 of normal playing time until now. Get the suspicion that Banzi would have been offside there. Referee in the end not required to raise his flag. No-nonsense approach to defending from Ainussen. Mohammed, though, put under pressure. Awaibe Alwani, the one player who hadn't played a minute before coming in for the final. Not a bad place in the tournament to make your first appearance. Left by El Ghadi. Here now is El Honi. Nuru Sully. Ghana will be looking to do a little bit more with the possession as the match goes on, I'm sure, hoping to let their quality show. That's better from a poker. Here is the captain. To Bra. Now Foucault. Kufo still with the ball. Tajani out the left-hand side. Lovely bit of skill here is Tajani. Options in the middle, all a little compact. And as Anuba attempted to make some space for himself. Luckily for Libya, Abdallah could come out and collect the ball. I promise it's been more entertaining than that, though. Not one for the purists just yet. Plenty of time for that to change. El Ghadi. Ahmed Al-Tribi. Well, approaching half an hour gone, and Javier Clemente and his Libyan coaching staff will be fairly happy with how things have gone, you imagine. Remember all the pressure tonight on Ghana. It's down that Libyan right-hand side that the Ghanaians will have to be a little wary. We've had a combination between Abu Shnaf and Al Magassi on a couple of occasions. One resulting in that nasty-looking injury to Stephen Adams. They'll be content to keep it slow. Mohamed. Real battling qualities for his young age in the middle. And talking of battlers, here is Apoku. Is this football for Asante Kotoko? One of the 5 players in the Ghanaian team who has played each and every match in the tournament. Anuba finds Sule. Big strong header. Now taken down. Bodies forward here for Ghana. One of which on this left-hand side is Anuba. Banzi through the middle. Sully waits as well. Tajani also an option. In the meantime, it's a Troba. Tobra with nice play. This is better from Ghana. Several bodies in the box is deflected. That'll be a corner. Ghana finally wake up with Saka winning it. Lovely move. Well, he's waited half an hour to see those combinations as Maxwell Konadu. Corner taken quickly. It's a miscommunication that's allowed El Ghadi to come forward. Here's Ganoudi now. Ainussen. Ghana's best moment winning that corner. There's Jordan Apoku. Godfred Saka. So many recent opportunities and finals for Ghana, so many disappointments. Of course, Libya getting here for the first time since that disappointment 32 years ago. There's nothing disappointing about watching this match from the stands, though. Carnival atmosphere here in Cape Town tonight. Many have said that Libya could do with this. They want to unite their country. Effort from Matobra. Nothing really to write home about. And again, Libya will be happy to see pot shots from outside the area. Well, nothing to celebrate in terms of goals yet. Black Stars fans and the Mediterranean Knights followers giving their best from the stands. Goalkeeper Mohamed Abdallah happy to take his time here. On ball, looking at the flick on. Didn't quite get it from Abu Shnaf. Ganoudi was ahead of him. Libya not really causing problems for the last 15 minutes or so. Here's Saka. Space opens with Banzi through the middle. Way back to Akufo. And now it's Tajani. Banzi in the tussle. Loses out. The referee blows. Just over 10 minutes to half-time, nothing to separate the sides. Libya 0, Ghana 0. It's a mistake from the defender, though. It's well won by Ganoudi. Ganoudi in the middle, hacked away by Akufo. Here's Mohamed. Al-Maghazi. Given away, but well won back again by Al-Maghazi. Plenty of fight in this Libya side. Faisal Ali now. Al-Maghazi, one of the star performers of the first half so far. Only as far as Apoku. The man tasked with breaking things up in the middle. Certainly with the absence of the likes of Adusei. Does his job perfectly for Ghana. Banzi. Oh, wayward ball. Give Banzi another chance here. Here's Sully. Pretty aimless strike into the centre, given that there were no white shirts around. Abu Shnaf. Sliding challenge from Nuru Sule. And the Hearts of Oak defender puts it out for a throw. Well, he'll be starting to think what he has to say at half-time. In the meantime, Clemente, I'm sure, will be fairly happy with how things have gone. They've been solid enough. 2 chances in terms of clear ones for Ghana not taken. Here's Al-Maghazi. Headed away by Saka. Al-Maghazi again. Lovely 1-2. Space down this right-hand side. If you get the feeling that if Ghana are weak anywhere, it certainly is down that left-hand side in the full-back positions, and the coach not happy at the space that's being allowed behind the full-backs at the minute. Al-Maghazi doing his best to exploit it. Here's Mohamed. Young Libyan midfield with a testing ball into the middle. Only Ganoudi present. And again, perhaps very much in evidence there, the conservative approach for Libya. All the pressure on Ghana to unlock this North African defence. Foul by Banzi. Alwani was the man taken down. It's a poor free kick though. Chance for Ghana to get the ball forward. It's again pretty aimless ball, but that's nicely recovered. Sully can't find his teammate. And Ubard made the run. Pretty wasteful from Sully, it has to be said. Good fighting qualities. The ball really well won there. I think he's fouled as well in the process. Atubra said that he was having his shirt pulled. Referee not in agreement. Al-Khouni taken down. Play to the edge of the area. Nicely held up. Good turn here. Gets to get his shot away. And it's over the bar in the end from Abu Shnaf. He knows that could well have been a decent opportunity. Simple, really. The marking far too tight. Abu Shnaf. An old-fashioned takedown and turn. The shot, though, left quite a bit to be desired. Apuko. Anobra's taken down. Well, no wonder he's hurt. A little bit of afters on the way through. It certainly wasn't a nice challenge to begin with. But then again, I'm not sure how much intention there was really from Mohamed to do any further damage. Into the last few minutes before half-time. Ghana free kick. Chance to get the ball in. Second balls have to be won. They are by El Ghadi. Had to be chased under pressure as well, and it had to be put out. Tajani, who's been a force down this left-hand side in attack, showing his defensive worth as well. Janudi had been doing the chasing. Here's Faisal Ali. Long ball, simple balls, causing problems for the Ghanaian defence. Al Magassi just does a little too much with the ball. And once more, the brilliance, the flamboyance of the Ghanaian support, with the fervent Libyans as well. The best thing we can say about this game so far, unfortunately for the standard of football out there, the fans have been bringing the most action. It's not been the prettiest, but that could be about to change. Here's Sully. Chance to get into the middle here. Needs a good tackle. And Clemming goal kick. Ahmed Al-Tribi. It's exactly what he gets. Well, there have been plenty of nerves. He's hoping that the other side of the break, both teams can settle down and start to play their football. The way things are going, this is much more likely to suit Libya. Again, all with the footballing tradition and culture in Ghana. All of the pressure on them tonight. Here's Tajani, one of the most promising players for Ghana down this left-hand side. Sully Mohammed looks to have been fouled. Referee waving away the protests of El Troubi. pushing the back quite clear as well on the Ghanaian big man. Not too much for the suits to enjoy just yet. Couple of minutes before half-time though. Great opportunity to strike a blow at the right time for Ghana. Decent ball in, white shirts attacking it at the back post. One of which was Nuru Sully. And then it will be out for a Ghanaian throw. On that Atobra will leave. Saka. Long ball looking for the head of Sully. Again, the Ghanaians will claim it, but will get a goal kick. Well flicked on. You see when out of possession the Libyans working extremely hard. Just a lone front man. And that soon changes where they get 3 or 4 bodies forward very quickly with the ball. They've been brilliantly prepared physically, Javier Clemente's men. Here's Opoku. Ghanaian captain has a big job to do in the second half. Sully Mohammed can't take down. He stayed down though. The referee will stop play. As much as the Ghanaians may have disappointed their coach, their fans and the many neutrals looking on around the world, Libya's play really has to be commended. They've surprised a lot of people during this tournament. There'll be a minimum of 2 minutes of time added on in the meantime, as the 4th official, Abubakar Mario Bangura, holds up the board. Eric Clemente there, through his interpreter, getting the message across. And the Libyan supporters really enjoying their night out. As the Ghanaians sing in unison. Here's Mohammed. Nice confident play. Again, Mohamed Ganoudi's done a decent job leading the line so far. It's not been an easy job for him, alongside the likes of Abu Shnaf. Here is Abu Shnaf. El Ghadi, playmaker in midfield, who gets around, gets on the ball. He's pulled off his passes fairly well tonight. Well, that'll be half-time, says the referee. And after a first half that saw a good early chance for Ghana, and a scare at the other end with some pretty lax defending, settled down finally, but neither side really able to impose themselves. At half-time in the final of the 2014 African Nations Championship, it is Libya 0, Ghana 0. A fanatical welcome back to the Greenpoint Stadium here in Cape Town. Half-time of reflection from both teams. The Ghanaian supporters might be forgiven for thinking that they'd be ahead by now, but the Libyan side, well, I'm sure some will have seen them as the better side in the first half. We're hearing of fantastic results in terms of fans out the squares, the cafes and the bars and restaurants in Libya and Tripoli. Support for this back home is absolutely huge. Same in Ghana as is always, but they're used to these big occasions. Unfortunately, recently, they've been used to failing in them. A huge football nation in Africa. In this second 45, Ghana will be hoping to improve. Libyans will have been fairly happy with their performance. Their coach Javier Clemente charged with the task of preparing the team to host the African Nations Cup in 2017. That plan being forward 3 years or so, and they've already got to the final of the Nations Championship here. A big step in the development of their players. Let's see what they have as we begin the second half. No changes at half-time. Ghana in white on the left-hand side. Remember, missing their suspended defender, Kwabena Adusei. Also worth remembering that Libya missing two huge suspensions in defence as well, Osama Git and Abdulrahman Fettori. But it's fair to say that apart from on two occasions in the first half, Ghana not really testing them. Goalkeeper Mohamed Abdallah only having one save to make very early on in the match. In the meantime, his opposite number, Stephen Adams, injured, thwarting one Libyan attack, saving his defenders from embarrassment on another occasion. So 45 minutes to see if somebody can score. Remember, both these times coming through the semi-finals without a single goal. Well, I wonder what Maxwell Konadu said at half-time. Javier Clemente, on the other hand, won't have been too disappointed, I don't think. The likes of Abel Schnaf and Al Magassi had very good first halves. It is goalless. There's a trophy up for grabs. Somebody can snatch it in the next 45 minutes. Foul there by Abel Schnaf on Tijani. There's Samuel Ainussen sporting a war wound. Bandaged up halfway through the first half. There's Mohamed giving the ball away. Just remembering, said it numerous times in the first half, such an experience, just 16 years of age, the number 16 for Libya. Apoku handball, says the referee. He's adamant it came off the upper arm and was accidental. A little cheeky smile to the referee. Accepts his fate, the Ghanaian 30-year-old captain. Well, this is a great opportunity tonight, certainly as far as Libya are concerned, to unite a nation that has been so fractured and under so much international scrutiny over the last few years. The very tidy Mohamed El Ghadi. I'm sure there were plenty of scouts around the world looking at the Libyan number 8. Good on the ball, seems composed as well as that's given away. Chance here for the Ghanaians to come forward with Akufo. Decent ball, it's a tackle that the referee says wins the ball. And despite the disappointment, as Theopolis Anobar looks to the heavens, there'll be nothing other than a corner kick. Good tackle. Fourth corner of the match for Ghana. Libya yet to win a corner in the match. Souley Mohamed up there. Central defenders into it as well. Swung in by Saka. Chance at the back post as Aikin Sun. Ainussen, pardon me, looks to win the header. Just his third game of the match, Ainussen. Saka again across the other side. This time he'll be an out-swinging corner. I think he was looking to take that one short. The end referee wants to just manage any bit of pushing and shoving in the middle. Here is Saka's corner. Out-swinger it is. Again, referee very attent to what's going on. Nuru punished, and it will be a free kick to Libya. First chance for Libya to really get in the Ghanaian half in this first 5 minutes of the second half. Clash of heads. Immediate apology straight away from Samuel Inusen. Ouch. And the poor young 16-year-old Mohammed. Welcome to international football. Well, Mohammed being stretched from the field at the moment. It's disappointing, if not worrying, for Javier Clemente. His side do have a free kick here, and the first chance to put the ball in the Ghanaian box, certainly since hostilities were resumed at half-time. Here is the ball, plenty of red shirts in. The goalkeeper comes, claims, and is fouled in the process, said the referee. And Samuel Adams in pain again. Well, this time it looks rather more serious, really holding that right wrist. Now what happened? Well, the flag went up for offside. Where does the injury occur here? A bit of magic spray required on that right wrist of Samuel Adams. Of course, the goalkeeper position is the real position where there's uncertainty for Ghana, as Clemente works on his team shape. Veteran Richard Kingston recalled to the squad after a couple of years' absence. But look at Clemente, it's all what he's about: shape, organisation, preparation. Big job as his translator as well, to the right-hand side of him. He's suffered through this match, as Clemente. On his way to being a national hero in Libya. Sully chasing. And yet again, this scrappy start. to the second half, sees another foul. Well, it's almost looking like a game of rugby this at times. At green point. Almost 10 minutes into the second half. Libya 0, Ghana 0. You're watching the final of the 2014 African Nations Championship. Third edition of the tournament. Between two teams who really have fought and scrapped their way to the final. Meeting for the first time in a showpiece, 32 years after Ghana beat Libya in Tripoli in the final of the African Nations Cup. Nice flick on by Banzi. Yet again, foul in attack. High foot, Sully Mohammed. Well, that's going to hurt. Ali Salama is the Libyan captain. Yeah, to see the best of the Black Stars tonight, that is certain. Those Mediterranean Knights from Libya will be very pleased with how things have gone. They know that they have a real chance tonight now. This would be the story of dreams. Here's El Ghadi. Space developing down the left-hand side, but it's an over-ambitious and overplayed ball from the midfielder, who's impressed up to now. That would have been a nice opportunity to get El Medi El Honi in, and one that I think Clemente and company will be lamenting on the sidelines. Chance for Sully Mohammed and Ghana to get on the ball. El Ghadi, though, can break now. Plenty of white shirts committed forward as well. Nice interchange play with Faisal Ali. Now Al Magassi finds Ganoudi. Mohammed recovered from his little clash of heads. That's good to see. Alwani. Here now is Faisal Ali for Libya. Ganoudi letting it go. I wonder how long both coaches will leave it before making changes here. Certainly Libya the happier of the two, but perhaps expending a little bit more energy to chase down certainly the Ghanaian team, who are used to playing at a higher level, let's say. Aboku. Atroba. Here's Saka on the right-hand side. Sully Mohammed, going to try and win it in the box, goes down. That's well won. Atobra keeps possession well for Ghana. Sully Mohammed looks to make the run. Oh, surely a pull back. Banzi's down. Oh, and he cannot believe it. Doesn't get the decision. Banzi going down straight away. Clemente looks on without the expression, but you can feel that the Ghanaian team might have felt that the decision was about to go their way there. It didn't, and here is El Ghadi. Ali. Now Ahmed Al-Trubi. Good ball out towards El Honi. Twist turns, has options left and right. Libya keeping the ball well now. El Ghadi. Onside. Chances in the middle. Adams comes and checks his run in the end. Judges the flight of the ball well. Mohammed, though, winning it back. will be a Ghana throw. Tajani. Referee looking round at his linesman. Decides that a throw is to be given. So we're about to see the first of those changes. Maxwell Konadu in conversation with Yahya Mohammed. Chance for the shot from distance, and that is the first save that Mohamed Abdallah has had to make in a very long time. Ibrahim Atobra. A little bit of space between the back four and the midfield five. And that's something that the Libyan coaching team won't be happy to see. Only the second shot on target of the match. It has been that frustrating for the neutrals to watch, but that could be about to change. Red Stewart steaming forward. And in the end, Samuel Ainussen with a very important interception. Apoku. Souley Mohamed in the middle here. That's a poor ball. A very poor ball. Tajani with a chance to really change things for Ghana. Here is Tajani with the throw. Akufo. Mohamed for Libya. Faisal Ali now. Ball looking left. Interception had to be a good one. Dodgy bounce did for the Ghanaian striker. Has the ball gone out? Yes. Linesman with his flag up straight away. So Souley Mohamed down. We're about to see the much maligned Yahya Mohammed come on. He's not the most favoured of Ghanaian players amongst their own fans. One Mohammed will replace another. Souley Mohamed limping off. Yahya Mohammed, a striker who is desperate to take his chance. One goal so far in 4 appearances in this tournament. And as I already said, you look at any Ghanaian football journalist article, comments on the website, he is not a big favourite of the fans. Can he change their mind tonight and become the hero? Just over half an hour left in which to do so. It is Libya 0, Ghana 0. Atubra coming forward for Ghana on the left. Yahaya's already making a nuisance of himself in the box. Looks to try the overhead kick. And the Ghanaian number 21 didn't even connect with it. He's another of the Asante Kotoko players, Yahya Mohammed. And a big chance already. Now then, options coming forward once again. Atubra. Tajani an option on the left. Here is Tajani. Last touch off a Libyan player, surely. The referee says no. Waste of a Ghanaian chance. So we've seen one change already up front for Ghana. And it's been so physical this match that we're going to see the number 9 changed as well on the opposite side. Abdel Salam Omar on to replace Mohamed Ganouri, has run his socks off all night. Omar, who has 3 goals in this tournament, on to try and play and provide the killer instinct as far as Libya are concerned. Libya, the only North African team never to have won a continental title. 26 minutes to go, still has an opportunity here. Omar on. Can they feed him? Here's Ahmed Alwani. Ali Salama. El Ghadi. Yahya Mohammed, the substitute. Important tackle from the captain. Interesting to see how conservative these sides will remain coming up towards full time. Of course, there is so much at stake. But nobody will want to lose this. But of course, to win it, you may have to take a few risks. Foul from Anouba. Here's Faisal Ali. Looking for Al-Maghazi. Just about managed to keep the ball in, commits the foul in the process. Ghana fans still believe, and those waving South African flags supporting a team that most of them adopted back in the World Cup in 2010, and South Africa were knocked out early on. Ghana went on to be the most successful African team in the first ever African World Cup. 65 minutes gone here, it remains Libya 0, Ghana 0. Opoku. Saka unable to stay on his feet as Yahya is a little too physical in the challenge. El Ghadi taken down. Opoku with the push and a clip in the heels from Yahya. Take your pick of the decisions. Chance for Libya to get the ball upfield. Umar looking to get on the flick on. It's put behind for a corner. Not sure how necessary that was. And I think the goalkeeper, Samuel Adams, getting the very message across. First corner kick of the match for Libya. Chance to get 5 or 6 players in the box. And their opportunity might be about to present itself. Ball to be swung in near post. Yahya is the first man to head away. Mohammed now. Here's Faisal Ali. Substitute Omar attempting to try and get himself in the way. In the end, it's Samuel Adams. Yahya Mohammed now. Certainly been involved since coming on. It's a poor ball in from Tajani. It's a shot come from distance. Well, nothing wrong with having a go. There haven't been enough opportunities. And Michael Akufo sending it well wide and high. Libyans have defended well though today. Goalkeeper keeping those standards up. Only had really one save to make. Mohamed Abdallah coming very early on from a Ghanaian header in the opening moments. That's good work by Al-Maghazi. Mohamed loses out. Yahya making himself available in the box as Al-Ghadi wins the ball. Once more the Ghanaians crying foul. Libyan supporters praise the intervention from their long-haired midfielder. Opoku. Well, he knows he was under pressure coming into this. The Ghanaian coach Maxwell Konadu. His team have got to the final, but they really have frozen on the night so far. Libya, if anything, looking the better side at times. Here's Al Ghadi. Long ball looking for Omar. Reached the hands of a very grateful Samuel Adams. Nicely kept in by Godfred Saka. Yahya Mohammed loses out. It's out for a throw. Saka to take towards Yahya Mohammed. So what his presence can provide up front. That's a poor ball though. Certainly not on the same wavelength as Saka, who was well off, not able to receive the layoff. It's good play though in Libya, who seem more confident as the ball as the match has gone on. Now here's Al Magassi, one of the most impressive players on the night. Nusun has had a tough job to do. Ball is out for a throw as we're well inside the final 20 minutes now. I have to say, it's still difficult to see where the goal's going to come from. Mohammed. Defensive mistake. Plenty of white shirts in and around that midfield. Well, that is an aimless long ball. Konadu knows that time is running out. Clemente, in the meantime, surely won't be disappointed with the scoreline. Objective already achieved for Libya at this tournament, whatever happens tonight. It's easy to say. Now that they're here, they want to win this. Oman misses his header. Up to win the second and does well. Looking for it back immediately. It's a long and hopeful ball, attempting to put the Ghanaian defence under pressure. Nusun does well. Omar. Substitute does well to find Faisal Ali. Here is Omar again as Mohammed looks to shoot from distance. It's well over, it's wide, but the foul had already been given anyway. Yahya challenging in the box. White players arriving in support. Yahya learns. And none of those white shirts, though, able to be found by Yahya Mohammed. Well, he's holding the ball up fairly well since his introduction. Bouncy in the middle. Ball straight out from Yahya. Took a deflection, though. We still await the first goal of the night. Extra time looming in just over 15 minutes' time. The goal here could well be the winner. Saka to take the corner for Ghana. Away by Al Ghadi. The crowd's enjoying the night, despite the fact that it hasn't been the most entertaining game in terms of pure football that we've ever seen. Foul given by the referee. Well, Ghana, huge favourites prior to tonight. Balls on all the African football websites showing Ghana 80, 85, 90% winners. It's been even Stevens on the night. Nicely played by Omar, he's fouled though. Samuel Inussen protests his innocence. That replay though, showing twice he got the man. So another chance from a set piece. Plenty of red shirts in the box attacking this. 6. Needs a decent ball. The problem is none of the set pieces we've had tonight have seen very decent balls in. And the game for the third and fourth place bottom was settled by a very late goal from Nigeria. Here's the final. Going to have the same effect into the last 15 minutes of this game now. Maxwell Konadu looks on, as does Javier Clemente. Nervous moments for the coaches. Fans biting their fingernails all over the continent and the world as well. Hooked away by Alwani. Omar with a header. Here now is Tajani. Collides with his own player. The referee is going to blow up and allow him to get treatment here, as that looks nasty. Atobra is down and looking hurt. Ghanaian physiotherapist. There's plenty of work to do here. Theopolis Anoba, the only man in the Ghanaian starting 11 to have a goal to his name in this tournament so far. Libyan support as well, this is a dream come true for them. Horrible, troubled, fractured times in the last few years at home. But football here providing a cause for unification. Mix up in the Ghanaian defence. Ball almost making its way forward to Omar. Here's Yahya Mohammed in the meantime. Nicely won by Alwani. Suddenly there are red shirts forward. Omar. Chance on the right hand side. Omar here with the opportunity to shoot. They claim penalty. The referee says it's straight into the mid earth of the player. Still they play on. Header to come in at the far post, and that's gone behind. Well, the Libyan players crying penalty as soon as that shot was struck from Omar. Inussen going down in the manner he has gone down. It struck him fairly hard in the midriff. Let's have a look at it again. There's the initial turn laid off to Omar. Now, is that upper arm or is that into the midriff? Clemente certainly thought it was a penalty. Samuel Aynusen. Finally back on his feet. Last 10 minutes approaches. Libya 0, Ghana 0. We had penalties involving these teams in the semi-finals. Penalties involving the Libyan team in the quarter-finals. A draw between these teams in the group stage. Nothing to separate them after 80 minutes of football here in Cape Town tonight. Godfred Saka with the ball. Long ball forward. Here's Tajani. Long ball looking for Yahya Mohammed. That's a little too long for the long-haired striker. Anobar recovered from his little comical spat a moment ago with his own player. Here's Saka. Well, the Black Stars not exactly starring tonight. It has been a final where they have been a little disappointing, it has to be said. Libya, in the meantime, certainly have done the best that anybody will have asked of them. They find themselves quite remarkably into the last 10 minutes and within a chance here. Extra time, and if needed, penalties still to come. Several of the players perhaps need to question the footwear that they've gone out there with tonight. A few slips and scrapes. It will be a Libya throw. A little bit more urgency in the game now into the last 10 minutes. El Honi will take the throw. Omar in the centre, but Abu Shnaf unable to get the ball to him. El Ghadi. Tall, lean, almost weak-looking figure, but he's been strong in the middle. And it has been a physical game, it has to be said. Here's Omar. Abu Shnaf, Ali. Looking for Abu Shnaf to make the run forward. It's an important interception, and one that really had to be made by Samuel Aynusen. It's been an important figure in the end. The Ghanaian defender. This is good though. And that is a corner. Libya. Well, they're going to push everything forward to pressure that man's team here. And is it going to be more hard-take in the final for Ghana? Stephen Adams and company. No, they have to be alert here. Decent ball in. Confusion in getting it clear for the Ghanaians. That's poor control. Now, is this going to present a perfect opportunity to Ghana? Foul given. I wonder if you're going to get a card as well here. The referee reaching to his pocket, and it is yellow. Well, an opportunity there. Wani, I'm sure, will take the yellow card at that late stage. the ball hadn't been going away from goal, we might have been looking at a different colour. Abraham Atubra feeling the push, perhaps going down a little easy, but there certainly was contact. Now then, a great opportunity for Ghana. Look at all these white shirts forward. Chance here for Saka to deliver the ball. He's been the set-piece man all night long. Needs a good one. Oh, it is a poor delivery. Cross back into the box. Saka again on this right-hand side. Ghana will just about keep the ball. Saka coming forward. The Ghanaians are penalised. The referee in the meantime will not allow them to take it quickly. So into the last 5 minutes. Well, the way Libya was set up, they will have certainly taken extra time before the night came. Ghana, I'm sure, will have been looking to win this in 90 minutes. Still an opportunity for both teams to do this. In the meantime, this is a man that Ghana will be hoping can continue, certainly if extra time is to come. Opoku, so important, the Asante Kotoko captain. It's been an animated viewing on the touchline from Clemente and company. All that gesticulating, all of those messages have worked so far for Libya. They will be gaining the respect of the African continent and the world looking on this evening. Is there a chance for them to nick it right at the end? Once more, it's Ghana's big number 5, Samuel Inusen, who's in the way. Here's Mohamed now. 16-year-old with so much to develop, has really impressed. Now Omar, the substitute. Can't get the ball back to him. El Ghadi will be in to pick it up and keep possession for those in red. Here's Mohamed. Approaching the 89th minute. Libya 0, Ghana 0. Final of this 3rd African Nations Championship. Unless things change dramatically, headed for extra time. El Mehdi El Houni now. Chance to break Ghanaian hearts. He felt he was fouled. The referee didn't feel the same way. Well won. Faisal Ali, such an important player for Libya tonight. Here now is Atubra. Ghana with time for one last push forward in normal time. But Yahya Mohamed has been pulled up for a foul. Well, he'll look back to that overhead air kick as well. Perhaps if he'd stayed on his feet just after coming on, Yahya Mohamed would have made a better chance for himself. Wasn't to be, as we're into the last minute of normal time. It looks very unlikely as though this will be won without the need for extra time. Here's Omar. El Ghadi racing forward, but the ball can't find him. Saka, long ball forward. Here's Yahaya. Fourth official about to tell us that there will be a minimum of 2 minutes to be added on. Fancy foul then. This match, unless Ghana can do something here, will be going to extra time. Several sporting wounds from a very, very physical contest this evening. Can somebody strike now the knockout blow? Saka's ball. Once again, as many of the set-piece deliveries have been tonight, extremely poor. But Libya are on the attack and on the break. Omar desperately trying to stay on side. So good job the ball wasn't played. That is a poor ball, but it's kept in. El Trubi. Mohamed given away, and Libya, when the chance comes their way, cannot take it. Now Yahaya. Al-Wani does the important defending. Now Mohamed. 50 seconds of the 2 minutes of time added on remain. Now Libya with the ball in the box for the first time in a long time. It's put out, and Libya claim a corner. Clemente perhaps trying to claim something else from the referee. It looks as though they won't get anything in the end. Well, certainly to say that Aynusin got the ball, but he certainly took the man as well. And that is full time. Libya 0, Ghana 0. Extra time will be required to decide the third African Nations Championship final. So, no goals in this African Nations Championship since the quarterfinals. We're in extra time here in the final. Libya 0, Ghana 0, and Yahya Mohammed testing the goalkeeper for the first time in this final 30 minutes to see if we can separate the sides. Well, it's been a strange old night. Extremely tactical and physical games between Libya and Ghana. Tunisia, the holders, but not reaching the latter stages of this tournament this time. Held in South Africa. Remember, we were supposed to be in Libya, and because of the political instability and the recent civil war in the country, South Africa called in to host the tournament, but it has been wonderful to see the Libyans in the final. In the meantime, Atubra is down. The referee can say we can carry on now. Sides have just used one substitution each so far, by the way. Atubra, I'm not sure what the problem was there. Came off his hand, not his head. See if we finally see some urgency in this game. Hasn't been too much pace. And if nobody can break the deadlock in the next half an hour, we will have penalty kicks, as we did in both semi-finals, to separate the teams. Some important tackle in the meantime by Alwani. And Mr. Abraham Atumbra is again down injured. Referee asks him to get to his feet. Well, was there contact? I'm not sure there was. A little bit needless from Atubra, who's been down on the floor a couple of times in the last few minutes without particularly requiring to be. Good one to chase on for Omar. Support on this left-hand side. Libya will have been pressed a lot of people. There's the ball in, and that was the opportunity for Libya. Abu Shnaf out of nowhere. Nice build-up play, wonderful cross, and Clemente knows that could be the chance of the game going begging. Suddenly the match comes to life. Goalkeeper coming, left in no man's land. And the header from Atubra, Abu Shnaf, pardon me, goes wide. Well, first real chance. Yahya Mohammed backing in to the captain Ali Salama. Oh, one not even a chase, really, for Samuel Inussen. In the meantime, in the expensive seats, they're enjoying their evening, even though it hasn't been the most pure footballing spectacle. Finally realising that the rest of the continent is looking at them. Here's Mohammed. Faisal Ali now. Abu Shnaf, who missed that chance just a moment ago. Twists, turns, looks to get his chance to cross. There's good, strong defending by a man who really has given his all, Samuel Inussen. Here's Omar on the edge of the box. Done really well to hold things up since he's come on. Al-Magassi now. Good, strong first half, a little quieter in the second. Al-Ghadi tackles. It's come off the white shirt of Seydou Banzi, and that will be a Libyan throw. They claim handball. Well, might be a harsh decision from the referee. Certainly a point-blank range there into Nurusuli. It's taken quickly by Libya. Here's Faisal Ali. Omar. Again looking well. Here's Omar combining well. Omar still going here. Looks to get into the area. Goes down but never appealing for the penalty. Once more. Another very important interception from Inusen. Still it's Libya who've had the better start. Al-Ghadi. Al-Ghadi to go again, this time wide out to the left for El-Houni. El-Houni thought he was blocked off. Referee, who's from Algeria tonight, Monsieur Benouza, didn't agree with him. Here's Yahya. Yahya Mohammed. Al-Ghadi says no foul. Libya can break now. Al-Ghadi's down. Libya will put the ball out. Well, it has been very stop-start tonight. Yahya Mohammed felt he was fouled. There was contact again. Not too sure why Al-Ghadi then went down. Cynical those amongst you will be saying that Libya are playing for penalties. Ghana in the meantime ready to make their second change. Abdul Mohammed of Ashanti Gold is ready. In the meantime, in the crowd, there's still plenty of fun to be had. So, Abdul Latif Mohammed celebrated his birthday a couple of weeks ago. 24 years of age. He's going to come on to replace Theophilis Anoba. Anoba of the Medeama club. One of the scorers and the rare scorers. The goals have been so hard to come by for Ghana in this tournament. Handshake from the coach. He's run his socks off for the team tonight as Anoba. It's been a frustrating night for him. And certainly the millions of Black Star supporters in Ghana, Africa and around the world. Big favourites against this man's underdogs. Mediterranean Knights of Libya doing more than holding their own here. It has been pretty negative tactical stuff at time, it has to be said. But of course, when there's something to be won, both teams' major concern is winning rather than just providing the entertainment. That's a poor ball in the meantime though from Abu Shnaf, easy enough for Stephen Adams, the goalkeeper. Strong header away from Al-Magassi. It's a decent ball and goalkeeper had to be alert because Yahya Mohammed was looking at the far post. And he's instilled a good sense of calm in the defence tonight, it has to be said, Mohamed Abdallah. "5 minutes of this first period of extra time to go. Omar is chasing this. Adams that well to claim. Has to be said, the 5 minutes since we restarted, Libya have played the better football. Ghana yet to really impose themselves on this extra time period. Certainly one of those where, as far as Ghana are concerned, all the pressure, I mean that they become a little more nervous as the night goes on. The belief for Libya starts to grow psychologically. The Libyans growing as the night's gone on, little doubt about that, and they will fancy themselves with penalties. Certainly the goalkeeper will as well. Remember, he's the man who scored the winning penalty in midweek against Zimbabwe. And they look comfortable, albeit there's a nervous moment on the ball for the defender. Commentator Skur strikes. Captain Ali Sama giving it away. This now is Akufo, hasn't seen the ball too much. Now Opoku. Saka wins the throw. Opoku. Saka's offside. Nice idea, good move, but falling foul of the Libyan offside trap. Mauritian linesman on this near side, Balkrishna Botun. Required to raise his flag, clear offside. Metre and a half or so. Will be of great disappointment to the neutrals, the big fans of African football in general, that we've had no goals in this African Nations Championship since the quarter-finals. The powers that be in the suits up there as well will be a little bit disappointed by that fact. El Ghadi. Here's Mohamed. Important interception. It was really well made by El Magassi. Al Ghadi now. Plenty of quality on the ball when he's around. Having said that, fails to connect with his striker. Legs tiring all around the field, you suggest. Elwani heads away. Again, to no particular player. Has to be said that both teams looking rather bereft of ideas at the minute. Both seemingly ready to accept penalties. Another 15 minutes and a second period of extra time to go before that happens. Can Yahya Mohamed change things? To get the shot away. That's well won. Now Saka looks for the ball in the middle. Mohamed was there. It's an important clearance, and Ali Salama and the Libyan defence awake and alert when they're required to be. Akufo. Now to Johnny. Al Magassi, Libya defending so diligently. He said right at the top of the programme that this is a match between two of the meanest defences in the tournament. It's proved to be so this evening as well. El Ghadi. Ball given away. Here's Apuko. Ghanaian captain finds his midfield partner, Alwani. 1 minute of time to be added on in this first period of extra time. Here's Al Ghadi. Hopeful ball more than anything, looking for Abu Shnaf, but it's well dealt with by the Ghanaian defender, Nur Suli. And this is more or less the hero of the night for Ghana. The war-wounded Samuel Aynusen. So first period of extra time ends. Libya 0, Ghana 0. Still nothing to separate the sides. Second half of extra time begins with the substitution for Ghana. They will keep on going. Libya, in the meantime, bringing on Mutaz Fadel of Al Ahly. Now a chance, and it's just wide of the post for Abdul Mohamed. That Ghanaian substitution we were talking about, their best chance for quite a while. Abdul Mohamed finally, Yahya Mohamed with that important flick on. Abdul Mohamed putting it just wide. Again, he was under pressure. Libyan defender just did enough. And 15 minutes to see if somebody can win this in open play. Again, I can tell you that this result already provoking so much debate on African football sites as to the quality on show here at this African Nations Championship. So it's good play though by the substitute. Mutaz Fadel. There's Yahya Mohamed. Al-Tri. The pace a little slow here. Just get the feeling if somebody can find it in the locker somewhere to up the tempo, that could unlock the key to doing something here in open play. Ghana certainly have the tools to do so. It's a clear handball in the meantime from Banzi, who's been disappointing since the opening period of the game. Whatever happens, if penalty kicks, we're going to have to decide the things here. You bet that a lot of people will be backing Libya. Mentally, it will be extremely tough and certainly buoyed by what they've done in this tournament so far. The great underdogs with a real chance. It's a decent ball. There's the header, and Adams with an extremely important save. Well, the flag stayed down as Omar headed into the corner. Unable to beat Stephen Adams. And we talked him up at the beginning of the game as such an important player for Ghana. Adams has again proved But he's the man to keep his team in it. Clemente cannot believe that the chance to lift the Africa Nations Championship has been missed by Libya. In this extra time, they have had two glorious headed chances. First falling to Abu Shnaf before the break. And that, well, Fadel with a glorious opportunity. Should have been the winning goal for Libya. Ghana have been let off the hook. Can they now put something together? Stephen Adams to rescue the Black Stars. Now this is better. Abdul Mohamed. And we said that the Ghana goalkeeper was playing for a place in the World Cup. Once more tonight, just as he did in the semi-finals, has not done his chances of selections any harm at all. It is a problem position at the minute. Nobody really has shone through to take the place of the experienced, now veteran, Richard Kingston. Maybe in the end they've had more shots at goal than Ghana this evening. Certainly not a stat we expected tonight. Flick on, looking for Yahya Mohammed. Just over 10 minutes of this second period of extra time remaining. 10 minutes for somebody to score, or we go to penalties. In the meantime, real pain for Ahmed Al-Wani. The way he's landed. Or maybe that he's after penalty kicks. Could well be a bout of cramp as well. Certainly this late in the game. Looks as though that is the case. Umar there to help him out. Now this was the chance, and a glorious one it was. Abdel Salam Omar. And Mohamed Abdallah's goalkeeper cannot believe it. Super save, it has to be said, and credit to Stephen Adams. His heart must have been in his mouth. Maxwell Konadu. And we saw Clemente's reaction. In the meantime, good work on that shape, needs to continue. What a party it's been for Libya. Is it going to have the right ending as far as they're concerned? The Ghanaians, as always, haven't lost faith. But of course, Ghana, in every competition they enter at the international stage, expected to do well. One of the big football nations in the world now. Tonight they are being close to being upset by a team who hasn't featured in a major final for 32 years. Martaz Fadel with the flick on. It's a foul from Mohamed. Just a clip of the heels. Now, what could Ghana produce? Ball looking for Jordan Opoku, who made himself available a little further forward on the field. In the meantime, Al-Wani returns. Important header. Now, Mohamed was waiting. The strike will come from distance. Opportunity again to strike the ball, but unfortunately it's miscontrolled, and Joshua Tijani when perhaps a cross may have been a better option. Puts the ball woefully wide. Now here we go. Expect to see a bit of this in the last few minutes, I think. Libya will be happy to try and waste a little bit of time for penalties. Atobra has options in the middle, one of which is Akufo. Now Banzi. Well, linesman's flagged. That'll be a foul. Look at that foul count. 29 committed by Ghana, 15 by Libya. It's not been pretty. Even that might be recorded as an understatement by some. Understandable though when you can see what's at stake. Here's Godfrey Saka. There's the header, Yahya Mohammed, near post, but it's over. Well, he's certainly put himself in a threatening situation since coming on, Yahya Mohammed. That's a better delivery this time from Saka, but it needed a better finish. Gadi with a push in the back of his midfield opponent, Apoku. It's another foul, this time Libya looking to be the ones fouling and perhaps looking a little tired here. Into the final 5 minutes. Nicely helped on by Atobra. Now Saka. Looks to get a decent ball in. 3 white shirts in the box. Now the ball's with the substitute, Abdul Latif Mohammed. Decent ball, and that required a very good header at the back post. Luckily for the Libyans, the flag was up anyway. Apoku jumping with his knee and pushing. El Khoni, the man fouled. Well, that's good play. Akil attempting to find a way through what has been a stubborn Ghanaian defence. Libya have found their way through on a couple of occasions, and she was just saying, well, he missed it by that much. It's been that sort of night with missed chances. Surely a push in the back of Yahya Mohammed there. Played on. This time, referee's whistle has gone. I wonder if his mind starts to turn to those who are going to take the penalties. It's something that I'm sure that will have been practiced on numerous occasions. Practiced by both sides for real on the midweek. Foul again. We have a Libya player down, I think, attempting to waste the last few minutes. Maybe a bit of cramp as well. And that's got to hurt Ahmed Al-Magassi. Referee just looking at his watch to let us all know that he's going to add the time on. Ghana then, is this a substitution for penalties? Owusu Jackson of Beracombe Chelsea Football Club is about to make his entrance. Will be just about the last minute of extra time. It's fair to say tonight hasn't been a classic. One man who will not be taking a penalty, should we get there, is Jordan Opoku, the Ghana captain. Certainly can't be faulted for giving his all tonight as ever. And he will be placed by Owusu Jackson. Well, there are going to be some nerves in a few moments, certainly in Libya, that has suffered so much with civil war over the last few years. An opportunity to unite a very divided nation through sport. Well, if anybody deserves success for Ghana, it's that man on your screen, Samuel Iduson. Has picked up just about every injury you can imagine playing for Ghana tonight. Has gone through the wars himself. All bandaged up, bleeding and on the ground several times, but with some important interventions when Libya have had good moments and better moments in the game. And talking of important men, well, I'm not sure there's been a more important man for Ghana tonight than Steve Adams. I've said it several times, but we'll say it again. Could yet be the main man in the penalty shootout as well. That's if we get there, as Libya have tried to mount one last attack. Omar. It is Fadel. And now Faisal Ali is down with the latest bout of cramp. Well, hands on hips, it's been that sort of match. Unfortunately not one for the classics, not one for the purists. But it is full time. And penalty kicks will be required to decide the winner of the third African Nations Championship. Libya have stuck it out. It is a huge success for them to get just this far. For Ghana, well, a final which they will have felt they should have won. Certainly going into the match, they can still win, but they will have to do it through penalty kicks. We'll see you for the penalties in just a couple of minutes' time. Roman, welcome back to Cape Town and the Greenpoint Stadium. Libya won the quarter-finals on penalties. Libya won the semi-finals on penalties. Tonight they face a Ghana team that came through to this final by beating Nigeria. Yes, you guessed it, on penalties. It's been an African Nations Championship, the third edition of which we've had without goals since the quarter-finals. Libya, a miracle story in itself. The organisation of Javier Clemente to thank for getting them this far. However, the coach can do nothing but look on as his team takes on the lottery of a penalty shootout to decide a major continental title. Well, Ghana were in the final of the first ever African Nations Championship in 2009. They lost it, but remember, 32 years ago they took on Libya in Tripoli, the Libyan capital. Didn't have these crazy fans cheering them on then, but on that occasion, on penalty kicks, they beat the hosts to win the African Nations Cup for the fourth time. Libya here and hoping to avenge that defeat 32 years later in their next continental final. And you can see there is Libyan support throughout the stands here in South Africa as well. Well, the toss has been taken. It will be Libya to take the first penalty kick. And that means that the fantastic Stephen Adams, who's played himself surely into Ghana's World Cup squad with a superb performance during these finals, saved 2 penalties the other night, and here he is again facing Faisal Ali of Libya. First penalty in the spot kick to decide the destination of the trophy, and Ali scores 1-0. Sigh of relief. It can never be a nice position to be in until it hits the back of the net. Faisal Ali does his job. Cool, calm penalty. And Libya are 1-up. Now the Ghanaian responsibility falls on the shoulders of Michael Akufo of Asante Kotoko, up against Mohamed Abdallah. And it's saved! Libya ahead after the first penalty. Akufo misses, and the man who scored the winning penalty the other night in the semi-final, Mohamed Abdallah, saves the first. It was a very good height for the keeper. My oh my, did the Al Ahly stopper get there well. Disappointment etched on the face. And the party in the meantime has already started in the stands for those Libya supporters. Could well be a bit premature. Here's Muatas Fadel, came on as an extra time substitute against the big frame. And beats Stephen Adams. 2-0 Libya. Hussein Muatas Fadel. 2 successful penalties. Well, with all the pressure on Ghana coming into this match, very clear that they're going to be the nervous team. Libya have nothing to lose here and everything to gain in uniting a war-ravaged country over the last few years. Now, Samuel Ainussen has really been in the wars for Ghana tonight. Has taken blows, been excellent in defence. Really has to score this penalty. And it's saved again! A poor, poor penalty. Ghanaian dreams about to be shattered in a major final once more. 2-0 Libya. And Mohamed Abdallah with another penalty save. Libya and Javier Clemente will be national heroes if they can pull this off. Now score this and Ghana really are under pressure. It's the right back, Ahmed Al-Magassi of El Etihad. Has been one of the more progressive players in this game. The Algerian referee, in the meantime, wanting the ball placing correctly on the penalty spot. Adams hasn't got near to a penalty yet. And he's not going to get near that one either. Ghana have to score their next penalty. Al Magassi puts Libya 3-0 up. Well, it took them to the 8th penalty the other night against Zimbabwe. Tonight, Ghana are under pressure straight away. Will miss this, and Atobra and Ghana have lost the final. Needs to score, and does. So important that he did so. Abraham Atobra keeps Ghana in this final. But now they need heroics from the keeper. A very good penalty it was. So Stephen Adams saved 2 the other night against Nigeria. Up against probably the most impressive player on the pitch tonight, Mohamed El Ghadi of Al Ahly. He's been an excellent ball player, a calm presence in midfield. But if he beats Stephen Adams, Libya will be the winners of the African Nations Championship. El Ghadi, oh, super save from Adams. The cup and the match still alive. So El Ghadi, again, very good height for Adams, who guessed correctly and beats it away with the palms. Head in hands, but only for the moment. Once more, the Ghanaians cannot miss. He's been the hero twice, as Mohamed Abdallah. Saved the first 2 penalties. And if he saves this from Godfred Saka, Libya will be the winners of the African Nations Championship. Saka must score. Hearts in mouths for the moment. Another touch to it from Abdallah, but Saka just had enough power. And now the onus is on Adams again to be the hero. And Abdallah, again, unable to save that, but he will have impressed so many people tonight. Big moment for Godfred Saka and for Ghana. So ever wanted a chance to be a hero? This is it. The substitute, Omar. If he scores, Libya win. And it's saved! Another poor penalty. Another one well saved by Adams, and this is alive yet again. Ghana still in it. Libyan nerves getting the better of them. So the North Africans score 3 from 5. And for sudden death to take place, Ghana must now avoid that sort of disappointment. Mohamed Abdallah and the rest of the Libyan squad, no doubt the entire nation, asking for some divine intervention. Here is Owusu Jackson, brought on to take the penalties right at the end of extra time. Scores. It's all level. It's sudden death time. Well, what is it about this championship? Nothing can separate them. Great character shown by the Ghanaians. Remember, they're the experienced players here. They're the ones expected to turn up and win tonight. Whatever Libya achieve, it is a bonus. We remain with that attitude towards the things, but now that their supporters have got this far, they're about as nervous as anybody else would be in the situation. And we arrived at that moment where those who perhaps didn't plan on taking a penalty have to do so. Adams want the support. He's done a good job in the last couple of penalties. Now he will be up against the centre-half, Ahmed El-Trabi. Here is El-Trabi, and scores! Not the greatest penalty in the world, but as long as it hits the back of the net, it counts. And Javier Clemente looks on. Far cry from the days coaching Athletic Bilbao, Murcia, and the rest of his charges in Spain. They've moved on from his style of football. Not welcome in La Liga anymore now that tiki-taka has taken over. But his sort of organisation doing wonders for Libya here. Pressure again on Ghanaian shoulders. And it's wide! Libya, kings of the continent! Joshua Tajani fails to hit the back of the net, and Libya finally realise it sets in. They are the winners of the African Nations Championship. And after Tunisia took the honours a couple of years ago, Javier Clemente and Libya keep the trophy in North Africa. And for a country that has suffered so much in the last few years, this is a tale of dreams. Libya champions. Javier Clemente adds a major international trophy to his considerable club palmarès. And well, for Ghana, what can you say? Yet again, the Ghanaians fail at a major final. Now, having said that, what is happening here? Libya off celebrating, but both linesmen having something to say to the referee now. Libya protesting. And finally the full-time whistle goes. Not quite sure what that was about, but there were some worried faces amongst the Libya squad. Finally the celebrations can kick off and are in full swing. Libya, we can say yet again this time, with 100% faith that they are the Africa Nations champions. Revenge for that final in 1982 in Tripoli, when the Africa Nations Cup on that occasion was won on penalties by Ghana. This time in a much different and rather more needy situation of national unity. Libya win the Africa Nations Championship. Finished 0-0 after extra time. And on penalties, we leave you with the celebrations of Libya as champions of Africa.
presidents, the head of delegation for Libya, and the head of delegation for Ghana. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now have the formal handover of the flag from South Africa to CAF and from CAF to Rwanda to signal the host for CHAN 2016. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now commence with the awards ceremony. The CHAN 2014 Fair Play Award goes to Nigeria. We now call upon the match officials led by the referee of the third and fourth place match to collect their medals. And we now call on Nigeria to collect their medals for finishing third in the Orange African Nations Championship South Africa 2014. officials led by the referee for the final to collect their medals. Next, we call on the Orange African nation, South Africa 2014 runners-up Ghana to collect their silver medals. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for the Orange African nation, South Africa 2014 champions Libya, as they step up to collect their winners' medals.
So Libya here to collect their gold medals at the African Nations Championship. 32 years ago they were in a final, lost on penalties against Ghana. Tonight, the revenge, and of course a chance to unite a recently extremely divided nation. A beautiful story comes true, and even though it hasn't been an African Nations Championship for the purists, the result certainly one of a fairy tale nature. Javier Clemente there smiling away with his first international trophy as a coach. Only previous trophies have been won for him in Spanish club football. Messages for those watching back home, millions of them. And Libya about to go into party mode. We've seen it inside the stadium here in Cape Town, and I'm sure back in the squares, the bars, the cafes and restaurants of Tripoli, there will be a wonderful atmosphere. Sepp Blatter, the FIFA president, on hand to present the trophies and medals. And then it's Javier Clemente, well known to many in football circles, not known for playing the best brand of football, it has to be said, but his organisation, tactical nous, and football knowledge, second to none. And I'm sure, of course, given the fact that it's been a very sad day in Spain following the passing of Luis Aragonés, he will dedicate his medal to one of Spanish football's greatest coaches. So the Libyan coaching staff enjoying what I'm sure they didn't even think was possible when they turned up in South Africa at the start of January. But what tonight becomes a dream of a reality. The singing's already started, and we're almost all ready for the trophy presentation. So everybody gets their medal. And the third edition of the Africa Nations Championship is won by Libya. They are the champions, the kings of the continent, here in South Africa after a penalty shootout win against Ghana. Libya champions here in South Africa.
Libya, your 2014 African Nations champions. Thank you for your support. Travel safely and see you in Rwanda in 2016.
journalists going in there. There's one going in, two going in. No way. Drop it and let them go. Slack and go. Slack and go. Go there.